Yo, what's poppin', people? Your boy Snacks is back in the building with another banger. And you know how we do before we get started. You know how we do this. We do not start a video without it first acknowledging you, the viewer. So thank you for taking the time out to watch this video. But while you're here, do us a solid, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and do not forget to leave your comments in the comment section or turn your post notification bell on so you'll know when your boy is going live and dropping this heat. And we have yet hit another milestone that we've been waiting on all week. Your boy, we have finally hit 20K subscribers. So that's a big shout out to you guys. Thank you very much. It's been really, really enjoyable being back on YouTube, covering the Colorado Buffaloes and everything else that's CU. So thank you very much for 20,000 subscribers. But you know, we do not do a video without shouting out the CU aunties and thanking them for all they do. So when you see them in the comment section or you see them in the chat when we are live, make sure you do yourself a solid and say what's up. But please do not get disrespectful, because being disrespectful to the aunties will get you in a lot of trouble. You know what I'm saying? So y'all ready to get this party started? We are, because Mary Kay Cabot is providing cover for the Cleveland Browns. And if you watched my video that I dropped yesterday on Shedeur confronting Tony Grossi, I told you that this was coming in that video. And if you caught me and G Bush live yesterday on Breaking the Huddle, then I brought this up yesterday also. So we're going to talk about it. And I'm going to tell y'all what the problem is. Y'all ready? Let's go. Now, see, there has been a real disconnect since Shedeur has been in Cleveland. And the fodder is that the narrative has been that Shedeur is so far behind Dylan Gabriel, that Shedeur doesn't have command of the huddle, that Shedeur doesn't understand how to do everything pre-snap, as in sliding the offense, recognizing defense, and things of that nature, calling out the plays in the huddle, understanding the terminology that is used here in Cleveland. But we all call bullcrap. But we've seen it. We've been watching it for years. But now that I told you, once Shedeur played in a live game or when he played with the ones in practice, that the narrative would change because everybody would cry foul because they understand that they've been led astray by the Cleveland Browns organization. And Mary Kay is the perfect person to push this new narrative, to try to keep the narrative the same, that Shedeur doesn't understand certain things and is behind Dylan Gabriel on certain aspects of the program. That's why he's still the fourth string quarterback. But once Shedeur played on Friday, we knew that all of that would change, because I told you, once everybody sees what he can do live, once everybody sees that he has command of the huddle, once everybody sees that he knows how to call audibles, change defenses, find the mic, and all of those things, then the narrative would change. But see, now with this firestorm of media that's going to come this week, the Cleveland Browns are trying to get out ahead of it. They're trying to get out in front of this new question and answer session that everybody's going to have. Because the question is now, Why is Shedeur behind Dylan Gabriel? Why has he been behind Dylan Gabriel? Because we all know that he's this good. But Mary Kay Cabot and the Cleveland Browns thought that putting out this narrative would buy them cover and buy them time, which it won't. But let's jump into it on what they are trying to make us believe. So I saw this tweet yesterday, and it was from their Hall of Fame player, Joe. And he said, for all of you that don't understand why the Cleveland Browns were treating Shedeur the way he was and why he was still behind Dylan Gabriel and Kenny Pickett, Mary Kay, in her new article, releases the reasons why they were in this situation, why Shedeursanders is behind Dylan Gabriel and Kenny Pickett. And it reads as such. So why hasn't he gotten any first team reps? Speaking of Shedeur, because he had to get up to speed in all aspects of the pre-snap process, including relaying plays in the huddle, identifying the defense, sliding protection, directing the motions, and making adjustments. From snap to throw, he's mostly dynamic. He's mostly dynamite, save for the time he reverts to the habit of retreating under duress and taking would-be sacks. In fact, he's drifted less during 11-on-11s than 7-on-7s, which speaks to the gamer in him. We call bullshit on that because he had to get up to speed in all aspects of the pre-snap process, including relaying plays in the huddle, identifying the defense, sliding the protection, directing the motions, and making adjustments. So you're telling me Shedeur can't call a play in the huddle. But what they're going to try to identify to that is that Shedeur has never huddled players. And I would tell you, neither did Dylan Gabriel. Neither did Kenny Pickett until Kenny Pickett got into the NFL. Dylan Gabriel wasn't a huddle. They didn't huddle in Oregon. The plays were called in from the sideline. They were signaled in. He called the play out, and the play was ran. Same as Shedeur. He called the play. The play was called in from the sideline. He called the play out and made the adjustments at the line according to what he saw in front of him. But unlike Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur had the freedom to change any play at any time because he knew the playbook so well. Shedeur had the authority to slide the protection, to change the play, to do whatever he needed to do to be successful at the line of scrimmage. We don't know that Dylan Gabriel had that. See, but let's go to the second one. At times, during minicamp and training camp, Sanders would work with the third or fourth teams on the opposite field, while the other three quarterbacks worked with the ones and twos installing the new offense. But if he was on the other field and y'all were up here installing the new offense, why wasn't he up there working with you on the installs? Maybe because he was ahead of everybody else and already knew the installs. Because you trying to tell me for a person, a quarterback that didn't know your installs, couldn't run your plays, couldn't call your plays in the huddle, but he just played like he's been doing this in Cleveland for 2 years on Friday. The same person that you telling me couldn't do this, but in 2 weeks, he picked it all up. Mind you that he didn't get hardly no reps. The day before the game, Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel were still getting reps. So you telling me you put him in an advantageous situation so he could fail, since he couldn't do all of these things, since he had trouble recognizing defenses, since he had trouble calling plays. So you telling me that you put him up there so he could fail? That's what you saying. Because you trying to say that you taught him all of this in this short period of time, a small window, less than a week. This is why he ain't been getting no reps, because we need to get him up to speed, and all of a sudden Friday, boom, he the smartest man in the room, smartest man on the field, know all the plays, because we didn't see no timeouts being called because the play couldn't get called. We didn't see no timeouts because everybody couldn't get lined up. We didn't see no timeouts being called during the game because he didn't recognize the defense in front of him, or he didn't know which way to slide the protection, or did nobody understand the play. We didn't see none of that. So you telling me a person that didn't know any of this learned all of this and made no pre-snap mistakes during a live game on national TV on Friday? Y'all think we stupid. Y'all need to stop. See, only thing you had to do was own up to the fact that you were treating Shedeur like a 5th round pick and treating Kenny Pickett like a 1st round, Dylan Gabriel like a 1st round pick. That's what you should have owned up to, because that's your mistake. But instead of owning your mistake, you'd rather lie on a player and try to continue to ruin his name, saying that he's stupid and he didn't know what he was doing. We had to treat him like he was a 5-year-old just learning football. This is ridiculous. Y'all need to stop. See, they sent Mary Kay Cabot out here to get y'all to trust that they know what they're doing. And then they want to try to look like heroes because they know Shedeur is the best quarterback they have in that room. Dylan Gabriel is a mistake. But see, Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry are trying to save themselves because their fan base is starting not to trust their word. And with this write-up, with this article, you shouldn't trust their word, because they don't know what they're doing. Instead of owning their mistake and saying, hey, we were wrong. Shedeur is that boy. Shedeur is better than we thought. Shedeur is more ready than we were prepared for. We planned all along for Shedeur to be our quarterback number 2, but we wanted to try to give Dylan Gabriel a chance to earn his spot since we drafted him before Shedeur. This is a meritocracy. This is the NFL. And we felt it was only fair if Dylan Gabriel had a chance to earn his spot. But you didn't do that. You put out crap like this and try to lie and try to make it like you are teaching Shedeur from the ground up, like he didn't understand how to play football when he got here. But let's read on. During some of those times, Stefanski stood directly behind Sanders, listening to him call the plays, gauging his vision. It's rare in camp for a head coach to spend so much time with the 4th-string quarterback, but the Browns have felt from the jump that Sanders was worth developing. But in the draft process, was it not said by everybody that Shedeur was the most NFL-ready quarterback in the draft? His processing. See, y'all forget All this shit is already documented. That he processes the information right. He can read the defenses great. He was trained by Tom Brady, by Peyton Manning, by Jeff Blake, two of the best quarterbacks that Joe say ever played this game. One of them is the GOAT. But y'all expect us to believe that he don't know what he doing, that he don't understand defenses, that he can't read or understand his progressions? He don't know how to slide the line to protect himself? Are we crazy? Last paragraph. The fact that Sanders had to catch up on the terminology, calling complex plays and other pre-snap procedures is not an indictment on his football acumen, which is extremely high. It's just that he hadn't done it in an extent that Gabriel had during his 6 years in college. While Sanders has had 6 offensive coordinators, the scheme, terminology, and concepts weren't necessarily overhauled by all of them. Gabriel played in 2 different offenses. Because I told y'all, don't let these people fool you. Because they didn't do their homework. Dylan Gabriel had 2 offensive coordinators. One at UCF, one at Oklahoma, one at Oregon. That sounds like 3, don't it? No. Because the same offensive coordinator he had at UCF, he followed him to Oklahoma, where they ran the same offense. The only change he had was in Oregon. Dylan Gabriel spent 6 years in college. Why did it take so long? If he's such a good quarterback. Good quarterbacks don't spend 6 years in college. Shedeur didn't spend 6 years in college. Cam Ward didn't spend 6 years in college. Tyler Shuck spent 7 years in college. Why? See, Dylan Gabriel tried to come out last year, but he got a 7th round draft grade. This year, he didn't have a choice but to come out because he didn't have no more time. And he still got a 6th round draft grade. Shedeur had a 1st round draft grade. But we know how that turned out. The same guy, Kevin Stefanski, that calling plays for Shedeur, worked for Shedeur's offensive coordinator in Colorado. The same guy, Kevin Stefanski, that's calling plays in Cleveland, wrote his entire playbook off of the offensive coordinator in Colorado. Their books, their playbooks is almost play for play. The terminology ain't that much different. The plays are longer in the NFL. Shedeur has run this playbook. That's why he looks so comfortable. Everybody needs to understand that. Mary Kay Cabot is trying to run cover for the Cleveland Browns because they've been caught lying to their fan base, trying to make their fan base believe that shedeursanders was not ready, instead of just saying, we're going to give Dylan Gabriel first out. We're going to give Dylan Gabriel first right of refusal. We're going to give Dylan Gabriel the chance to earn second in command, third in command, because we drafted him in the 3rd round. But instead of doing that, they tried to make Shedeur look like he knows nothing about football, like he has never played football before in his life. He wasn't that smart when he got here. We have to teach him these things all over again. But he goes out there and lights the world on fire. And now everybody knows that you were lying to them. Just like you lied when you said this was an open and fair 4-man quarterback competition. But everybody got first team reps except who? Shedeur. Dylan Gabriel has been getting first team reps since minicamp. We in training camp, and Shedeur has yet to get a first team rep. Now, if you want to go there, we can go there, because we got plenty of people that say Dylan Gabriel does not look like an NFL quarterback. But you have been treating Dylan Gabriel like he's a first round draft pick since he's been in with the Cleveland Browns. Y'all don't fall for this bull crap. Cleveland Browns don't know what they're doing. They didn't want Shedeur. Jimmy Haslam made them draft Shedeur. Now they have to deal with the consequences of trying to hide him. You can't hide greatness. I'm not even going to tell you why we in this situation, because we all know it's nothing but God. God made a path, cleared a way, because you can't play with his kids. I've told you that. Plenty of videos on it. Favor is not fair. And Shedeur has plenty of favor. But you keep on playing with him and see what happened to you. But I'm going to get out of here, man. Cleveland Browns trying to make people believe we stupid. We ain't dumb. We see what you're doing. But you done screwed the pooch now. Cat's out the bag. Shedeur done played on national TV. And I guarantee you Sports Center and doggone Get Up was probably the lead story on Get Up this morning. And gonna lead First Take this morning. Gonna lead all the Fox shows. They not starting with Cam Ward. They starting with the young phenom, the 5th round draft pick who goes out there and shines. What you gonna do now? Pressure's ball is in your court. Pressure either bust pipes or make diamonds. What the Cleveland Browns gonna do? But anyway, man, I'm going to get out of here because I can click on them for a while. I'm going to holler at y'all. Y'all don't forget to leave y'all comments down in the comment section. We going hard this morning. We out of here. Peace.